Hey, it's 6 o'clock on June 18th. I will call to order the village, meeting of the village board of trustees. Roll call.
Berto. Here. Harp.
Here.
Housen. Here. Campo. Here. Warner. Here. Orozco. Here. And Bell.
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Bertle,
Second.
second by Orozco. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes from the May 21st meeting. The additions, corrections, deletions. Motion will be in order.
So moved.
Motion by Russell, second by Hunt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Comments, correspondence, concerns from the public. There were a couple things in the back. Yeah.
Yeah, so in the packet was a letter from Kathy Greer. I'm sorry if I say that wrong. Greer.
Yes.
Open Door Pride, thanking the board for your June proclamation of Open Door Pride Month and inviting any board members who are available to attend their festival on June 29th. The other item of correspondence in the packet was an article from the June 2019 issue of the Municipality Magazine, which is put out by the League of Wisconsin Municipalities on the roles and authority of governing board members.
And something I missed on, I'd ask that everybody on Zoom mute themselves so they're not actively speaking, called upon. Is there anybody in the public? Wishes to make a comment? That's Mike.
Mike Laskowitz, 10873 North Bay Shore. I just want to remind this board again that in November of last year, you approved a budget that increased spending by 40%. The Wisconsin Policy Forum says that that's probably the highest rate of increase among any municipality in the state. That's all cities and all villages. That that increase included a 23% increase in wages to our staff, a 36% increase in benefit costs, an operating and maintenance cost increase of 46%, and non-operating expenses, which I think includes debt services, were up 100%. Our debt service this year, even with a 40% increase in the budget, is now 43% of all of our spending. 42% of our budget is for debt service. That's very high. This year, the inflation rate is estimated by the US government to be about 3.1%. My last point is that I know there's a finance meeting next week. Many of you are members of that finance committee. I believe we should be looking at a 20% reduction in spending next year to claw back the unreasonableness of this year. This board determines the spending level, not the village administrator, not the staff. We shouldn't be going out and asking the staff to give us their numbers. We should be telling them what their targets are. I know we're in a tough spot without a village finance director, but this is problematic. It's a going out of business strategy for the community if we don't get our act together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mike. What else? Yes.
Hi, Cole Vanderleest, 1944 County Road ZZ. My wife, Kara, my daughter, Chloe. We own a business in Fish Creek, East Alpha Design. I am here as a member of the Friends of Sister Bay Ice Rink Committee, and happy to report that last week the Dorcon Community Foundation Board of Directors voted to move forward with the capital campaign to raise $2.5 million to build a new ice rink surface at the Sister Bay Sports Complex. It's an incredible endorsement from an organization that doesn't choose their projects lightly. In short, they choose to work with projects that they really firmly believe in and that will succeed. As our committee has said in the past, the only caveat is that the village board affirmed the commitment recommended by the Parks and Facilities Committee to put forth their $500,000 for the capital cost of the project. Our committee is excited to work with the board and staff to bring this incredible amenity to fruition for our local kids and residents. On a personal note, I've seen this rink bring so much joy to this community and the kids that are we are raising in this young and always growing younger community with children. And I've seen the potential that it's had, in the recent years of, only maybe a couple days, the ice rink is open, to a couple days, 2 weeks. So we're just hoping that, you guys keep with your commitment, and, I believe with this skyrocketing population, the ice rink will bring, so much more, pleasure to all of these young residents with children and the community at all. So thank you for your continued support.
Congratulations. Yes, that's awesome. Good for you.
Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom? Okay. On to 6 then. Is Patrick White here, County Supervisor? Okay, we will go past that then.
Wait a second.
First,
We just had,
Yeah, can you hear me? Board members, hello?
Can hear you.
Sorry about that. All right, so thank you for having me tonight. I just have a couple of things that I wanted to bring to the village attention here at the county level, really emergency management items. With that, we're pursuing a grant to get a new generator transfer switch for our fuel pumps at the North Highway shop. What this is going to do is provide some redundancy in the case of power outages. As you recall, the storm this last year in the springtime took down a lot of power throughout the county. So what we're doing here is securing some funds to make sure that in the event that something like that happens again, we'll be able to keep our emergency services up and running with fuel at that North Highway shop on the south end of Sister Bay. One of the other items on here is the formation of the Community Emergency Response Team. This is also under emergency management at the county level. What they are doing is they are starting up a volunteer group, and they're looking for folks that are going to be trained in emergency response situations. Once again, this goes back to really at the county level, seeing, the storm this last year, a lot of infrastructure was down, as well as emergency management was having a real tough time just keeping up with all the resources that were requested throughout the county. However, what they did is they saw that there was an opportunity here to involve the community with that, and what they're doing right now is getting that stood up. So I would imagine in the coming months here, you will be seeing solicitations looking for residents, whether full-time or part-time, if they want to be involved in this. So just more of a FYI in this case, but going forward, we will be looking for the community to help us out, especially those if they already have skills within that area of expertise. So that is my report. Thank you.
Anybody have questions for Patrick?
I do.
Yes, nice.
So as a business owner, and the product that we receive, which is a lot of drinks that come in cases that most of them are all wrapped in plastic now instead of just all cardboard that you can recycle. And my business had a place to take it that would be recycled, and they are no longer doing that. And so I looked around and also forwarded this to the Green Tier Committee to look into on maybe if, at least for Northern Door, there was something that Going Garbage could do if they have an outlet for it, if it even would cost the village a small amount of money to have that contract service, not necessarily picked up on site, but at least we have a place to drop it off. As we read a lot of articles about the microplastics that are everywhere and it's not getting any better. And clothing stores that get semi-loads of things in, and every item is wrapped in plastic. And it just goes in the landfill also. So I wanted to ask Mr. Voigt if he could move forward a conversation to see if the county was interested in implementing or having conversations about supporting not just residents and if they wanted to recycle their plastic, but certainly for businesses, even if there might be a small fee, I would be willing to pay for it instead of having it end up in landfills.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely take that to the board when we have our next committee meetings and see, what the appetite is and potentially, what types of solutions are out there. So, and I'm sorry, who is speaking?
Denise Berto?
Denise, okay.
Who lives nowhere in the county?
Not that I
There
can
is.
find. I mean, there are some grocery stores that will do, grocery bags.
Right, but who do they
Um,
belong to?
And who do they, I don't know what they do. And our grocery store used to do that. They stopped doing it during COVID and they have not put them back out, which I also asked the Green Tier Committee to inquire about, at least for consumers, a place to bring them back. And,
It's part of the agenda for this coming Thursday.
okay.
Off the top of my head, like I said, I would have to go back and we can definitely bring that up at the committee meeting. It sounds to me like, that's obviously an opportunity for maybe some third-party company that we can look into, that could offer that, throughout the county. But yeah, Denise, I can get back to you on that.
Thank you.
So Patrick, this is Louise Housen, I live at 10637 Westwood Drive in Sister Bay. I'm sorry, I should know this. Does the county have a green tier committee?
Does the county have a green tier committee? I believe it does.
Okay, so would this request go to them or does this go to the board? How would you handle this?
So being part of the land conservation committee, I would bring it up through that and see what we have within that, because all conservation type efforts fall under that. So that's my plan moving that forward. Ultimately though, at the end of the day, we as the board, we have access to all the different committees. So if we need to move it around, we can.
There's also the Climate Change Coalition,
Right.
and they do a lot of work regarding all conservation and such. I think they would be a good group to reach out to as well.
Well, it would seem to me that the communities need to collaborate, or the reason that Denise is talking to you, the county, this is a perfect opportunity for the county. This is a project the county should own, because every one of the communities that you represent have this issue.
You also have questions?
Right, and that's right. I feel it's a fair request to bring up to the board here and see, what can we do as a committee looking at potential solutions like that. If it is throughout the county, with that, where does the responsibility lie on that? So it's just the starting point of it. But yeah, I definitely think it's worth discussing. Like you said, I feel that all communities are facing this type of issue. So
I'd like to add something. It's on our agenda for discussion on our next Green Tier meeting, but there is a proposal out there to ban the use of any plastic bags or containers within the village of Sister Bay. Is this something that maybe would interest the county to implement countywide? I mean, we're fairly small in Sister Bay. If we adopt something like that, yes, it will make an impact, but I'm thinking that we could be a little more, make it countywide, be more ambitious. I don't know, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I would have to go back once again to the committee and see how they want to proceed with that. As far as the requesting, what's been proposed before, has this been brought up? And then also just how to pursue with that, if where does the authority lie? A lot of times those types of things would be coming down to more so the village itself and how they want to pursue that, as opposed to a county level from what I've been told in the past. But yeah, I can bring that up as well.
California did it as a state, so I think we could do it as a county perhaps if everybody's
Yeah,
interested.
That's the best.
I've
way
seen
to do it.
examples in
Draw
big
everybody
cities
together. We're
that
talking
have
about it
completely
Thursday.
banned plastic bags. So. Pretty small.
Yeah, it sounds to me like it should there. I mean, you had mentioned where does the responsibility lie? And then you said, where does the authority lie? So the responsibility lies with all of us. And I think that from an authority standpoint, I mean, you can, I suppose, slice and dice that, but you really need to have the will to do it. And I think it's clear that certainly we do. And I think if he's, pretty much talk to any business owner or any municipal board, I would suggest that they probably do as well.
Yeah,
So,
because I mean, yeah, we could make an impact in our village, but if we could get a little bit more
Yeah.
ambitious.
okay.
Think big.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick.
Nobody else has any questions?
All right.
I have a question for you, Patrick. On the April board meeting, there was a discussion to talk about the Pride Month proclamation, and I believe you voted against bringing that up in May. I guess I just had a question about why that was, and I'd just say that the village board did vote unanimously to support that here in Sister Bay, so I'm just kind of curious to know what your thought process was behind that.
I mean, with that, it was, I really thought we were going to be talking about issues related to Sister Bay here, not necessarily personal voting issues with that. I can tell you from my end, I can't say everything for the board, but from my end, it was my first meeting there. And I know there's a lot of things on the agenda that we had to get through based off of what we saw last year with the whole flag issue being on the county courthouses and county buildings. I didn't think the time was appropriate. So.
Just wanted to hear your input on that.
I don't understand.
So I don't quite understand that either, and I guess I would follow up on that. We are a community who has consistently voted unanimously to have a proclamation, to fly a flag. It comes down to that we are all humans and all deserve respect, justice, equality, dignity. And I didn't think that something in your response bothered me a little bit. And that is, this is not how you personally voted, because I didn't like your answer, because you are representing parts of Sister Bay and parts of Liberty Grove. And so that shouldn't, I don't think that has anything to do with being personal. I think it's the area that you are representing and what we would like to see move forward.
Right, and I apologize if it came out that way. What I was asked about is the way I voted on that, why I voted. So obviously I have to take into account things. So internally, that was my thinking. So it was not, I'm not opposed to having that conversation. I thought the timing was poor with it, that's all.
So you're just saying that the timing for May was not appropriate? Because I mean,
I'm saying that,
I don't want to get too far down in the weeds on that. I guess I just wanted to get somebody just to get your thoughts on it, Patrick, so.
I apologize. Can you repeat that? It was breaking up a little bit there.
So, I mean, the vote. What I was really wondering about is it was a vote to not talk about it. That was really what it came down to. So I mean, your position on it didn't even necessarily come out. It was just saying, we don't want to talk about this. You're saying if the board meeting is just has too much stuff on it, that does happen from time to time. But I guess I'm not sure that's what you really said.
Yes, look, and I'm not really, what I'm getting at is we had just gotten on the board, and there were a lot of other items that are on the agendas that were coming up. This was something that they were trying to get in, and I understand the timing of it with that. And I felt with everything that was on there for the agendas that were coming up, that putting that on in the next meeting, which they wanted to rush it, was just not good timing with that, with all the other things that were on those agendas. So not to say that it shouldn't be brought up. I'm not trying to say that. I'm very much for having those types of conversations. But like I said, it was really a timing issue with that. So,
All right, let's move on to 7, presentation from Destination Door County.
Thank you, Patrick.
thank you.
Really great to be in Sister Bay and appreciate your time tonight. I'd like to introduce my colleagues that are here with me in the audience. We have Juliana Beam, who is our Tourism Zone Administrator Extraordinaire, may I say that? Sue Schwartz and Amanda Stuck, who are with Destination Door County, and Chris Schmeltz with the Door Hotel. He is on Destination Door County Board of Directors, and may I claim Ellie and Aaron with Sister Bay Advancement Association, just such a great group of people that are very supportive of the visitor economy. And as the official designated tourism marketing and management organization for Door County by the Door County Tourism Zone, Destination Door County continues to be a community shared values organization committed to balancing sustainability and economic opportunities for our businesses, our local governments, organizations, and the environment. And our foundational activity of attracting visitors does set off a chain reaction of economic benefits, supporting the initiatives that are, that I'll review with you that are in your packet. So I'm going to start on the left-hand side, top to bottom. And you'll see a chart, which is where does the room tax go in Door County. Many of you know this, so it highlights how that lodging tax is distributed. And Juliana will talk more about the collections and the distribution of that tax. And you'll see that the municipal reimbursement program that is highlighted in green, those are the dollars that each municipality pays to the tourism zone, and then DDC reimburses that. As those dollars are from the 70% that we receive, they need to be used for tourism related infrastructure expenses or public community enhancement projects. And in 2024, the Village of Sister Bay was reimbursed $51,814.18. And you'll see the blue highlighting the 30% received by the municipality. And those dollars can be used however the municipality deems necessary. And you'll also see the investment into the Strategic Community Partnership Program at 19% of the lodging tax allocation to provide additional funding for the vital work that the community business associations do on behalf of their communities, supporting their residents, their businesses and members and visitors. And the Village of Sister Bay is truly fortunate to have Ellie and her team, Aaron, and many other volunteers and members leading Sister Bay Advancement Association as your community business association champion. And I know you all know that they do such an amazing job. And then on the next sheet, you'll see the Community Investment Fund. And this was established and launched January of last year to support initiatives that enhance tourism infrastructure, cultural and historical preservation, and economic opportunities for our nonprofit organizations and our municipalities. And as this is funded by room tax collections allocated to DDC, those funds must follow the Wisconsin lodging statute that first, as far as grading and projects that have to be significantly used by transient tourists and reasonably likely to generate paid overnight stays. But then those projects also have to show the benefits to our residents. Very, very important. So the info packet walks through the 5 rounds of funds that have been granted. And the Village of Sister Bay has received the following awards: $90,000 for a multi-jurisdictional trail, not directly to the village, but $50,000 to the Sister Bay Historical Society for the repurposing of the 104-year-old Little Sister Barn, and $48,489 towards the purchase of a shuttle to provide public transportation for residents, J1 workers, and visitors. And that first round that kicked off May of 2023, investments totaled 828,917 through the end of 2023. And in 2024, through round 5 now, those investments have totaled 578,335. So since the launch of the fund, there has been a total of $1,407,252. And all of these projects will positively impact our communities throughout Door County and generate additional visitation, extend the stay, and provide benefits for our residents. And I do want to thank Louise Hausen for being an integral part of the governance committee, guiding the direction in the future of the Community Investment Fund. And I would like to say your insight has been invaluable in shaping the continuing progress and success. And I'd like to encourage all of you to think about additional ideas and projects and talk with the Door County Community Foundation for future funding. The next document you'll see is the Destination Door County Parks Grant Initiative. And that was another program that we activated this past year for our state and county parks grant initiative with the friends groups of the state parks and the county. So all our state and county parks are key generators of visitation to the county. And this grant program is investing dollars generated by overnight visitors to support conservation, improvement, and accessibility in our state and county parks. And details are outlined in the one-sheeter that is included in your packet. And any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. But we're very proud and excited to see the benefits that we're able to provide through the visitor economy to the friends groups, because they work so hard on ensuring that our parks are taken well care of. And then the last sheet on that side is the Destination Connection Municipal Newsletter. And that was created to provide relevant information that's specific to each municipality. So in 2023, we produced two per year, and we'll continue that cadence. And that is November 2023. So some things are outdated and new, but you will see the next iteration in a few weeks. And I would like to also encourage you to let us know if there are things that you want to see in that newsletter. Please let us know, because we want to make it easy and useful and really efficient with your time, because we know how valuable your time is. And then moving over to the right side of the packet, top to bottom, you'll see the Destination Door County 3-year strategic plan that highlights our 3 pillars. And so you'll see our goals and objectives for each of those pillars, along with our strategies and tactics that drive the budget. And we also include our KPIs, or our key performance indicators, so that we can ensure transparency and accountability for everything that we do. We've created and reviewed the goals and objectives every year with members of the tourism zone and members of the Destination Door County Board of Directors, who are part of our strategic planning committee. And we're grateful for the extra time and effort that your tourism zone representatives, Julie, Louise, and Ellie, that they really represent Sister Bay extremely well. And their dedication is truly appreciated, and it does make a significant difference. And then the last, or second to last, is the stewardship plan, which many of you were involved in terms of focus groups and insight. And this long-term plan is really about taking a strategic approach to establishing a vision and a path forward for the stewardship of Door County. And this plan is not a Destination Door County's plan. We facilitated the process, but it's a county-wide plan, and it highlights the 4 strategic goals within the stewardship plan. We also do have an implementation plan now that is built out. And we have a stewardship page on our website, and actually on the back of the stewardship plan, there's a QR code that we're encouraging everyone to get signed up and get involved with the areas that they're interested in and passionate about. We know and have had conversations with many organizations that are already working on these initiatives as well. So with that, we're aligning to leverage and amplify all of our efforts. And in 2025, many of these initiatives that we can integrate will be within our strategic plan moving forward. And then the very last part of this is the power of tourism in Door County. And we literally just received the economic impact this last week. And it's provided through Travel Wisconsin and Tourism Economics, highlighting key analytics that range from tax revenue generated from visitor spending, tourism employment, and other relevant data points. So you'll see the overall impact of visitor spending in Door County was up 5.7% over 2022, with direct visitor spending of 5.6% over 2022. And it breaks out the sectors to give you an idea of what revenue has been generated within each of those sectors. And when I presented to you last June, I highlighted how crucial your vision has been in shaping the vibrant community that we see today. And Sister Bay's development initiatives have really been instrumental in fostering outdoor recreation, enhancing the local dining scene, and, you know, congrats on the 75th anniversary for Al Johnson's, boosting retail opportunities along with various lodging options. And without your forward-thinking approach, these vital aspects of our community wouldn't be here today. And all of your businesses really form the backbone of Sister Bay's economic base, contributing significantly to the local economy. And your waterfront serves as a cherished spot for both residents and visitors alike, offering a beautiful space for recreation and relaxation. You all have taken commendable steps to reach the current state of growth and prosperity. And I hope by continuing to work together and aligning our future goals, we can continue to support the evolving needs of both our visitor economy and our residents. So again, I appreciate your time. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Yes, ma'am.
So strategic goal number 4, establish destination Door County position on short-term rentals and related advocacy strategy. Support for equitable countywide short-term rental regulations in alignment with municipalities. Have you started having those conversations, and where are you in that conversation?
We have not. And remembering that this was not our plan, that it really was community input that established those initiatives and being fully transparent. We have not started those conversations. And I will say, as Destination Door County, we look more at the consumer having a choice. And we feel that it really is the municipalities that need to make those decisions for the good of and balance of their municipality.
I would wholeheartedly agree with you to come up with a broad strategy or for every community when we're all very different.
Yes, yes.
I think would be more harmful than good.
Yes.
Okay.
It's been very interesting to see, like, legislation was just passed, not signed into law yet in the state of New York. But the state just passed legislation on both sides to actually start regulating and collecting. And we're in a bit of a difficult situation with our state legislation. So I commend the municipalities on how they're handling it. It's tough.
It's a struggle.
Yeah, yeah.
Julie, just a
Yes,
couple of quick questions. First of all, the strategic goals are really worthy and they're all really comprehensive. So just remind me, are you guys going after these, you know, at the same time? Or is there one that's, I know that they're numbered because you have to number them,
Yeah.
but,
Are you talking about the strategic plan or?
the strategic goals, yeah, in other words, I'm looking at support environmental sustainability, which we just had a brief conversation about
Yeah.
relative to recycling.
Yeah.
And then we, you know, when I was a community coordinator, we talked a lot about trying to recycle at events, and that's always been a typical one to try to get our arms around. And then, you know, another favorite of mine, of course, is transportation and trying to get, you know, see what you guys could do to help, not just Sister Bay, but the county with,
Yes.
you know, with the countywide transportation program, which is going to require, you know, a lot of people, consensus from, the county in particular.
Absolutely.
Probably the state, but for sure the county and the municipality. I just wonder what your
Yeah.
role is, how you see yourselves in this and
Yeah.
what the first step would be.
So they're prioritized from short-term, midterm, and then long-term.
Uh-huh.
And as an example, with transportation, we're a facilitator to get everybody together that can actually move transportation forward. You'll probably be part of that group, Louise.
Okay.
But I do have to say, I was asked a very similar question last night with Sebastopol. And I told them about the shuttle that had been funded and it was being used for J1 visitors and residents. And that seemed to spark something with the board. So, you know, you guys, as always, you seem to set the trend forward. So hopefully we can learn from that. With the recycling, I think we've got a program with the community business. Yeah, so we are working with the community business.
Right, we've been trying for a while, to at least get a pilot program out there with one
Yeah.
or two, maybe big
Yeah.
events, big
Yeah.
festivals.
Yeah.
Where we can
We
try to.
need to, I mean, it's, yes.
I mean, we get asked the question at every festival and event, and it's hard, and then the argument is compliance. Because people say, well, it's there, and then they don't, you know, they don't recycle like they should and so forth, but if you don't try, you can guarantee.
Yeah, it's something we should do. We advocate for it and we will be moving forward with something. What that is, I don't know at this moment in time.
Okay,
So this was just, well, April was our launch date. So we're
Right.
trying to get everything
okay,
in order with deliverables and all of those.
okay. Well, I'd love to hear more about how you're gonna facilitate the conversation and the action taken for transportation. You know, because, I mean, this was 2016, we had a lift mixer at Husby's in 2016 or 17.
I remember.
Yeah, that was 7 years ago. We have 2 Lyft drivers. So it's just, you know, because of the nature, it's because of our because of the geography. And we certainly aren't getting Lyft and Uber to help us. They don't care. So it's just the geography of it. So yes, we have those folks occasionally on weekends when they know they can make a lot of money, but we really need a fixed route
We need a fixed
transportation
route.
system for it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know,
Yeah. Because
it's a free market system. They drive when they want. They drive when they make money. Of course they do. You know, it's just what it is.
Yeah, no, it's important.
Yeah. And then my other question is on, you know, business. How is it? What are you seeing? I'm on the DCTZ, so I just saw the April room tax numbers and they're about where we've been, you know, we're kind of limping along. And we understand why maybe the first quarter was the way it was because of weather and things like that, but how are you looking at it? What are you looking at from a forecast standpoint relative to what you budgeted, or even for us? You know, we were pretty conservative when we budgeted room tax
Yeah.
receipts, but also sales tax.
Yeah.
You know, and sales tax is about day trippers, it's not just people who spend the night.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how what you're seeing and what you're thinking.
You know, we don't have a lot of predictive information
Right.
except from some of the short-term rental data that we get in terms of bookings. And those are up, but again, those, they could cancel too, so it's not for sure, but we are seeing an uptick over last year. I have talked to several lodging owners, Fish Creek, Sister Bay, Village of Egg Harbor, and they're all very confident with the bookings that they have. So, you know, that's the information I've heard very positive or have received positive feedback within that. So, and all of our metrics from a performance, online performance, which does predict intent to visit.
So this is
Seems-
searches for lodging, searches for things to
Yeah.
do, searches for.
Yeah, and
recreation.
just, you know, engagement online and those types of things. So, yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions?
I don't have a question for Julie, but I have a suggestion for Chair of Green Tier. Seeing that it was brought up that maybe not at the meeting that you're having, because that agenda is probably already set, but the next one is to start having the conversation about festival recycling.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, well, yeah, we should, and I can give you a little bit of insight into what. Well, of course, but we engaged with, and Ellie would know, you should talk to Ellie, because we engaged with, and had a large, you know, a large, company whose expertise is recycling at large festivals like Lollapalooza, so they know what they're doing. But, you know, it's also, it's for those companies like that, would be way too expensive for them to do it, right? Because the cost is, because what we're doing is far less, you know, just real small. So, but they're there, but that particular company was focused on training, a lot about training and how to do this and what to do. And then their deliverable was, you know, training the staff, training the attendees, and then giving you results. And then it was that sort of, it wasn't a, like guerrilla on the ground, here's a reset, and you know what I mean? And telling people like this goes here, that's not what they were doing, the people that we worked with. And they're good, really good.
Well, I just, are we allowed
Yeah.
to jump in? So I know students are working with the CBAs and they have been getting quotes for vendors to get recycling at events. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but there has been some movement in trying to do that.
Right.
There's a conversation around, I think, 2 events in 2 different communities.
Right, we did that, I mean, I think middle of the year last year,
Yeah.
we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we can get it done this year, that would be great.
That would be great. Yeah.
Mhm.
And Kurt, are
Yes.
the Green Tier, may we attend the Green Tier Committee meeting?
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
Juliana will now go over all of the good stuff.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for having us. Firstly, I just wanted to start out by thanking our commissioners from the village. It's really been a pleasure to work with Julie and Louise. And I really appreciate the dedication and perspective that they bring to the zone. Their time and expertise has really been a great strength to our organization. And we hope we can keep them forever. And we're also really excited to welcome Ellie to our ranks this summer. I wanted to run through some of the background on the commission, and I'm sure Julie and Louise have heard this a million times, but I do think it's a good introduction to the zone. And also its functions. So the commission was initially established by a group of citizens who were concerned about a sharp decline in tourism-related spending and market share in the county. There was a market study that was run. It determined that membership dues specifically would not be sufficient to market the county. And in order to put a comprehensive marketing structure in place, there would need to be a room tax implemented. And here we are today. We have 29 commissioners currently on our board and 1,539 active permits as of today. One of the things that I always like to highlight is the functions of Destination Door County and the tourism zone. Every once in a while, we'll get a phone call from someone and they'll say, hey, I'm looking to do something fun in Door County at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. What should I do? And I unfortunately have to tell them that 9 o'clock on a Friday is my bedtime. And I have no idea. So that's when we refer them over to Destination Door County as our marketing experts. So my job in large part is to collect room tax dollars as quickly and efficiently as possible and get 30% to you directly and 70% out to Destination Door County to be put to good use in for their marketing plan. The tourism zone is run based on operation funding from municipalities. So you send us a percentage of our budget and that is reimbursed by Destination Door County. You've already gone through that this year. You're all set. And we appreciate it. And we also track online listings in Door County and ensure compliance. For example, we currently have a property that we are pursuing that was listed on Airbnb without applying for a permit. And what we do is we take a look at those listings on a bi-monthly basis. We also do things like scrub Facebook, Craigslist even, you'd be surprised, sometimes things show up there. And we contact those owners and request a permit application, which is also, I know what you do as well for your permits. And then another note for Destination Door County, they also distribute 19% of the 70% that they receive to the Strategic Community Partnership Program. So it goes directly to your community business associations. The other thing is that if you're not familiar with the statute that the tourism zone is housed under, it's statute 66.0615. And that does create the provision for room tax collection. It puts a ceiling on a lot of the fees that we are allowed to set. And the makeup of the commission and parameters for tax usage and enforcement are also housed under that. We do collect 8% in room tax, and we view our work as kind of a mixture of authority and service. So one of the services that we provide for property owners that are interested in becoming lodging providers is we often sit down with them and explain the process and costs that are involved, let them know what they need to do before they start advertising. And we've seen a really good response to that. We also help out with the first couple filing months because there can sometimes be a steep learning curve when opening up one of those properties. We also take a look at inaccurate or delinquent reports and report annually to each municipality. And again, monitor those marketplace providers. So one of the things that we'll do very frequently is we will take a selection of the reports that have come into the tourism zone, and we'll take a look at the average daily rate based on the number of nights they're reporting and the daily rate that the total lodging sales. And we'll compare that to things like their VRBO listing or their Airbnb listing, or any records that we have for years past, just to make sure that what they are reporting is remaining consistent. And then we'll contact them if it seems that there is something that's out of the ordinary. When a lodging provider does fail, neglect, or refuse to file with us, we do have a process to go through. Firstly, we have 2 filing reminders before any deadline. All of our lodging providers have a month to complete their room tax reports. So May reports are due the last day of June. But if they do fail to report that, then we have 3 notices that are sent before it goes to the attorney. We do, unfortunately, at certain times have to create a legal case in order to recover those missing reports and or taxes. But we try to avoid that wherever possible. The other thing that I would like to bring up is that we do have a set of membership requirements set by the state. So currently Sister Bay has 3 spots available on the commission because there's over $1 million that was collected in this past year, approximately 1.7. You had the most by, I'd say by a mile. And so there's 3 commission spots that are available and are currently filled. for that. Between 300,000 and 1 million is 2 spots on the commission, and 300,000 and below is 1 spot. We do encourage all municipalities to have at least 1 representative. But it's certainly up to them on that. And then just a couple other things. We did have some developments this past year. The tourism zone did move to all online filing. We had about 90% of our reporting already occurring online. But we did have quite a bit of expansion for our database system and for the individual sign-in profiles. And we are the only community in Wisconsin that has that system put in place. We increased security and moved to dual authentication for the system to make sure that the tax information was properly being handled. And we've also added in new spaces for document storage within individual profiles, and an increase in our data availability and customizability on the website. So I do encourage you to go onto our website, take a look at it, just run some comparisons, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Juliana. And Juliana says we, it's she and 2 other people.
Yeah,
It's a lot of work and she does a great job
thank you. I'm happy to do it.
some days. Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, on to 8A. Remove impact fees for water system and related improvements.
Hey, Megan is joining us, but, kind of helps to look at both of these together, I think, but we were collecting impact fees for projects that, didn't happen, so there's a deadline that collect, and if the project doesn't have to at that point, then you should be returning those impact fees because you did not use them. So the code was a little outdated, it didn't address all of this, so, or I'm sorry, in some cases, we were still collecting and the project didn't happen, so what this does is it brings the codes up to date and then starts refunding money to people. And, Megan can explain a little more if she wants, but.
I don't think we need to explain.
Okay, thank you.
Unless somebody wants to waste more time.
I just have a real quick question. This goes to commercial and residential entities, is that right? Or who does it go to?
It goes to the current property owner.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second by Shampo, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So that is for item 8A. And then on to 8B, remove impact fees for wastewater treatment plant expansion.
So moved.
By Berto, second by
Second.
Roscoe, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Resolutions, 9A, resolution adopting DCMA.
So moved.
Motion by Berto,
Okay.
second by Roscoe. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9B, adopting fee schedule effective July 1st, 2024.
So this is the fee schedule we discussed last month. As you know, we try to update it twice a year, at least once a year, to make sure we're not missing something. We know that there are some old sections of the code we haven't got to revising yet that still have the fee in the code. We're trying to catch all of those and bring them up to date, but this is the best we have right now. The only thing, there was only one item, I think, that I added to what we had discussed last month. And it was when the short-term rental code says people can go to the plan commission for a review, but there was no fee set, so we've been charging them the courtesy review fee. This spells it out what that fee is, and it is the same as the courtesy review fee, so.
I make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Berto, second by Roscoe. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, C, adopting the bylaws.
So, at the last meeting or one of the meetings, Nate had talked about revising the structure of some of the committees to include stakeholders instead of citizens or residents. We made those changes as well as some other housekeeping changes in here.
So I'd say that when this comes up to the board, there's the village board and the planning commission have statutory requirements about who can be part of it if they're citizens or not. We've amended this a few times. The board still has to approve all of this. So if we still feel like we need them to be citizens or residents, we certainly can hold them to that bar, but there's a number of times for a number of these committees that aren't making decisions that are coming back to us with recommendations. We have changed a lot of these to stakeholders, and I just said, Julia, let's change them all to stakeholders. And that doesn't mean that we're taking the power away from the village board. It just means we're not going to have to amend the bylaws in the future. So if
And we're challenged.
Well, also, I think that there's something to be said, using the definition stakeholder. If this is someone who is an individual who's probably the best fit for the position, so somebody that has deep knowledge of, whatever this committee, it might be green tier, it could be, I don't know, it could be utilities or whatever it might be, it could be safety or something like that. That's maybe not a stakeholder, but somebody who has deep knowledge of it and they could live in Liberty Grove across the street from Sister Bay. So, in these kinds of situations, I think it's practical, and it makes sense. So.
My one question is, what happened with DCEDC and our representation?
So,
Seeing that we're deleting it out of.
they haven't filled that vacancy, so DCEDC, I was in that role for a while, I had a little bit of for 5 years. In practice, it had become the village's position. But according to the bylaws of DCEDC, it was not. DCEDC had to approve whomever was recommended by the village
That was
board.
my understanding, yeah.
So when we had a number of appointees that went in there and they left the board, therefore they left DCEDC abruptly, DCEDC filled out with another role. I understand that may not, we had the expectation that we were going to have a position there. Somewhat through how the village's appointees shook out, we did lose that position.
Well, Mary Lyons left.
Yeah.
So when Mary Lyons left, that's the most recent change. So when Mary Lyons left, in talking to Michelle Lowry, who is the executive director for DCEDC, the way she explained it to me was that Sister Bay had been represented on the DCEDC for a number of years. And so they, as Nate said, were the ones that their board deciding, who to bring on, I suppose, and decided, I can't remember the municipality that they brought on instead of. So I don't think it was necessarily, we don't want Sister Bay on anymore. It was more, Mary left because she moved, so she wasn't on the board anymore. And they chose a different municipality, honestly.
At our finance meeting, if that agenda is not set, I would like to have an agenda item about our annual contribution to DCEDC. Sure. As a topic.
I'm probably gonna push that to the next one because we've got a full agenda. For
That's fine.
We'll have
As
we have
long
to
as
have
it
another.
happens before budget time. For the final budget, I guess I should say.
Sure. Kurt, I think you had your hand up.
No, I was just waving.
Okay.
You know what, man? I don't even know what the the DCEDC.
The Orton Economic Development Corporation.
Okay, now I know what it is.
Yeah, their bylaws allow, if I remember right, 2 municipalities. And we were just one of the 2 that they selected for the longest time. They just are given that opportunity to another community.
Which I think is fine, but for their board to only limit it to 2 municipalities.
It would be probably a good idea, but that's a conversation, with their board, and there's a lot of, I don't think Sister Bay or who. If they've got other people, they've got people from Sister Bay on their board, I don't remember, honestly.
Mary Kay was on it for the longest time.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
At least you wrote this, right?
I'd have to look, I don't remember, but that's it. I think a fair recommendation, yeah.
Yeah, I think if you look at the board makeup, there's a lot of
It's heavy sturgeon bag.
heavy sturgeon May, but also heavy government.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Cap
work.
Cabbage is on there.
But they're permanent appointments, where everybody else has got to rotate out after 5 years. You get termed out if you're
Okay.
a voting member, there's a lot of ex officio members.
Oh.
Certainly with conversation. I'll reach out to Michelle next month.
With the coastal byway commission, do we want trustee or staff person, or do we always want that to be a staff person?
So we had trustee, for years, no trustee ever volunteers for it, we can't get them. So I had suggested to Nate this past year, last year, maybe we do a staff person. And it has worked out well. Their meetings, they have a great mission. Their meetings tend to focus on the same topic a lot. They have a hard time because they are such a small group and have such a small group showing up. They don't have a diversity of topics that I think it's fair for staff to handle that. We could change that, but like I said, we never get trustees volunteering, or when we appoint them, they don't show up.
Okay.
I wouldn't be opposed to including it as a trustee as well, but realistically.
I'm just thinking writing trustee or staff person, so 5 years from now, we don't have to
That-
change it if a trustee was interested.
That's a good point.
I think that's a good point.
Further discussion?
So moved as amended.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Berto, second by Nelson, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, on to 10A, accept final plans for the Parks Maintenance Facility.
So you did receive a copy of the final set of plans that was prepared by McMahon, as well as the site design that was prepared by Stantec. They also came up with their best guess on what the price of the project would be. And they have it at, overall, including the furnishings, they have it at 3.6. Keep in mind, this has to go out to bid, so it could be, and we hope it is much less than that. But that is their best guess.
And that does not include the new
Correct.
sewer and water
Yep.
line.
For those of you that don't know, there was an issue where we can't provide sewer service to the building, so we will have to do a new line. So that will be an added charge. Even with that, though, we should still stay under the amount that we budgeted.
So Heidi, the second thing that you sent us an email today. Yeah,
No,
Sister Bay Parks Building, Village Board plan set.
so that came yesterday.
Yesterday, sorry,
So
yesterday.
that was their final updated plan.
So the OPC summary is the final, okay, got it.
So we would just want the board to accept this so that this can go up there.
Motion?
So moved to accept.
Motion by Roscoe, second by Hart. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So remind me, I know you just told us this, Julie, but it'll take a month or two to get the bids back.
Yeah, so we'll post the bid, we give them a certain amount of time, about a month to respond to it. Then we have to, and I had told you we were gonna do the RFP when I talked to Mike. He was changing the bid to an RFP and I went back and read the statutes. It is a bid we have to do. But there is a clause in there that gives us the ability to not have to take the lowest bidder if we are concerned about quality or some other things in there. So we will have our opportunity to make sure we're not. You may have some guy who has a horrible reputation who gives you the lowest bid. There's a mechanism for us to pick a good reputable contract.
Okay, on to 10B, contracts for financial services. I'll just say a little bit about this one. I think we really, so Julie and I have been talking about this for, I think we talked about it about a week ago. Brought it to here ahead of finance because of the timing on it, where it is if we took it to finance first, then would it go back to the village board in July, which would be too late for these filings on the 30th. We have all the members of finance here. I would like to see us just approve it. However, we could also approve this contingent finance review if we're so inclined. But I do want to keep the village's business moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sorry, Amber did send a contract. And I had Janelle printed off. I couldn't open the PDF, so I had Janelle printed off and I forgot them all on the printer.
Okay, so Baird has one and then she sent one.
Yeah, but she did give us her price, her hourly rate.
Price, yeah. So, but we have no idea how many hours it's gonna be, we just know what approximately what we're gonna charge.
We can cap that.
Well, I have a question though, do you think that, in doing this, it'll be able to take some of the load that we've reassigned to Heidi or Janelle or something off of them, or is that gonna, how, would that change that?
No, this is in addition to that. So this is stuff that staff can't do. For example, when we get into the budget. And I've done budgets before, but I'll be honest with you, I don't want to touch ours because we've got the bonding and we've got the loans and all this other stuff in there. I do want their assistance on that.
This is purely budgeting, you think?
No, it's more than that. So it's budgeting and then some of the reporting that we've never done before. Heidi has a great grasp on the state reporting that's due at the end of the month, but we do need their assistance with some of it. But there's also, if you go back to that chart that we looked at, we gave last month or the month before, there's some stuff in there that we need their assistance for that staff is not able to do.
All right, so moved.
Councilmember Bertle,
Second.
second by Shampo, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Annual cigarette, electronic vaping, tobacco products retailers licensure.
That's like,
So there are 5 businesses here in the village seeking renewal of their tobacco licenses, which has changed slightly with the passage of Wisconsin Act. Whatever it was back in December, sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head, to include electronic vaping devices. So therefore, the application forms are all different and include an appointment of agent application. You will find, as Denise pointed out to me, the application for AIM Country Walk BP, which is part of that packet, that link that you went to in your packet to see those applications, was appointing Amos Go as the owner of the business as his own agent, but he doesn't reside full-time here in Wisconsin. I was able to contact Mr. Goes today and he agreed to allow his alcohol agent, Sherry Luddy, be his tobacco agent. And Sherry completed an application this afternoon, signed it, Amos signed it. And she completed the individual questionnaire that goes along with it. So, if you are amenable to it, those businesses that are, renewing Little Vegas, Piggly Wiggly, Birdo's, Sister Bay Petro, and Country Walk BP are all presented there with their agents listed. Just needs approval from the board.
I was gonna recuse Chris.
Well,
You were quick, Lily.
well, hold on a moment.
Just trying to get it done.
Okay, so motion by Roscoe,
Second.
second by Shampo, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Not gonna get those recusal times thing. Okay. Moving on to annual alcohol license review. Every year, you're required to look at those applying for alcohol beverage licenses here in the village. There are strict rules about when applications must be received and on file in the office before this board reviews them, because I do also have to publish notice of their applications in the newspaper. This might be repeat for some of you, but we do have some new board members as well. Excuse me. The application, again, was new with the passage of the new Wisconsin Act that updated all of the forms. We received them late this year, but still in the early part of April when they were sent out to all of the businesses. You'll see later in the clerk's report for this meeting that very few businesses completed them by the time they were requested. I always give myself a little bit of leeway to get applications back. But we do have 32 businesses applying for renewal of their liquor licenses at this time. There are several who did not turn in an application. The information that I put together for you included the total amount of fees that have been collected, so you can see how that impacts your budget. Operators licenses are the bartenders licenses. Sometimes that term is confusing. Operators are bartenders. And we collected $1,500 in operators fees this year, which is phenomenal. Village offers a 1-year or a 2-year renewal on their operator licenses, and the majority of folks are opting to take that 2-year renewal, which we weren't sure how that would work when we made that change a while back. As you went through the packet, I don't know if you have questions that you want to ask. I did highlight information here for you. All of the agents for the businesses are listed. An agent is a licensed operator. When they applied for their license, they had to submit proof that they took a responsible beverage server course. And as agent, they are granted a non-expiring operator's license. So every business on this list does have at least one person who is qualified to oversee alcohol sales. Those that are highlighted in yellow have no other individuals licensed as operators, and Denise would like to speak to that tonight.
So I have brought this up year after year after year. And that we are a small community and we roughly know the hours of particular businesses. And if there is only an agent and no one else that has an operator's license, then that means that that agent is there every day, the whole time that the business is open. And there are many on this list that is not true. I did have a question about the Churchill Inn in the past because they had a self-serve bar that is illegal. We do not have proof that has changed. Country House Inn with Ben being the agent, you know. Is he there every single day, 24/7, or whenever they're distributing or would be selling from the front desk? I don't know. So I'm not saying that we cannot issue the licenses to the businesses highlighted in yellow, which, by the way, Ecology Sports, Roots Inn and Kitchen, and Skipstone Coffee, those agents are there on premise and has been confirmed. So take those off the list, or highlighting. That we could approve them, but I think we need a piece of paper, nothing formal, but something handwritten that either states that Michael Goldstone from the Churchill Inn is the only one distributing, and it is not a self-serve bar, and he signs and he dates it in front of Heidi or Janelle, who's a notary. I don't know if you're a notary too. Okay. And it's notarized and it's proof, and that can give us satisfaction because it is state statute that dictates this. And we have allowed it to go on for too many years without follow-up, and I'm tired of it. When we ask our short-term rental owners to fill out an application, their I's need to be dotted and their T's need to be crossed, or it gets kicked back. And I feel fair is fair, and what's right for one should be right for all. So therein lies my concern with page 133, with those highlighted, with 3 that I mentioned that should not be. There are also 5 businesses on here that never applied for a renewal of a license. That is the Boathouse, McAvoy's Kitchen, Crane's Kitchen, and June's Juicery. Now, from my understanding, Scott McAvoy is going to be on our agenda for next month. But without a renewal at tonight's meeting, that means July 1st, these 5 businesses cannot sell alcohol. Period. I'm just stating that for the record, and so that we're all aware. Secondly, in the applications themselves, there were all kinds of blanks on, I would probably say 75% of the licenses. One of the most common was the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institution registration numbers, which Heidi said was not a concern to her. But we request other state numbers for STR licenses, and
This was a number that was added to the form. It's never been on the liquor application before, and a lot of the businesses just don't even know what it is, even though they all have one.
Have they been instructed or given any information on how to?
No, I suspect that when they completed their forms, they did not read the 2 pages of instructions that came along with it. So,
Is it a new form? Has it
yeah,
been
all
changed?
the forms were brand new this year.
That's right, yeah. We've all told you that. Okay.
I mean, there is, not to pick on Michael Goldstone. But he also didn't check mark the box whether or not, he has satisfied the responsible beverage server training requirement. It's just left blank.
Well, his was one that came in unsigned and I mailed it back to him because he didn't even sign it.
So,
Denise, can I just comment on that real quick? You know, I think you raise a really good point, because working with the short-term rental people, they often say, why are we the only one that has to do this? Why, you know, they feel that they're the only ones that are having to do certain things. And if you remember, we send them back, and now starting next year, we're gonna charge them $150 every time we have to send it back.
Right.
For them to complete it. So. To be fair is fair. I mean,
Well, yeah, everybody should be held to the same standard. That would make
Based on
sense.
personal experience, the application is very easy.
What did you say?
Based on personal experience, the application is very easy.
Even the new one,
Very
right?
confusing.
Even the new
Because the
one.
new one, they said they revised it,
I did
God
it
knows why, but
1 minute.
anyway, okay.
You probably read it, yeah.
I did. But
it took longer than a minute, but good for you.
But,
Kelly.
yeah, I mean, it's not complicated.
It's not complicated. If you read, if you go line by line and look for the information that you're supposed to fill in.
So if I'm a restaurant owner, so if I'm Michael, I'm at the boathouse, do I get a notice from either the village or the state? Not that, I just am curious, either the village or the state that like, time to renew?
So yes,
Heidi does.
every year in
Okay.
April, I send out the renewal notices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the state doesn't though, right, it's the village?
No.
Okay.
And then I send out reminders, and in the past, I have called and hounded and shown up on people's doorsteps begging for their applications. And I was told last year by this board, I didn't have to do that anymore.
Well, no, you shouldn't have to
You
do that.
shouldn't have to,
These are
but you
adults, they're
still
running
stay on
businesses.
top of it. We did get we got the first email and then we got a reminder.
Okay.
And yeah, so Heidi is always on top of reminding. So there is no excuse for either not turning it in or not completing everything on the form because it's not complicated.
Okay, so the deadline's have to be in by July 1st to be,
So the applications have to be in the office 15 days before this meeting in order to get a license beginning July 1st.
oh, so they had to be in 2 weeks ago.
June 3rd was the absolute last day that I could collect anything to be reviewed tonight.
Okay. So in the past, when someone's been late, in the past, when someone
That
just
hasn't,
doesn't send it in or whatever, do we send them anything or
well, that hasn't happened because I've always been chasing them down to get their applications.
even though it was late?
Well, it wasn't late because I would get them on the last day.
Oh, I see.
should go to their house and not, or their
Okay.
business. and not come
So we're 2 weeks past the last day at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know what direction you'd like me to take as far as those businesses that haven't applied.
And it's in the business's best interest to get their application in. It's not in Heidi's or Julie's. You know, that should not fall on them. You
Right,
as a
sure,
business
absolutely.
should know.
Yeah.
Because this is a yearly thing.
Yeah, it's not like
So
a
you
different-
should know, okay,
5
this
years.
time of year I gotta turn in these applications. I'm not the most organized person in the world and I've got my.
What do we do as a board if they just don't turn in their license and they don't fill out the application?
Well, I think we
They
have
have
to
missed.
talk to let the state know that they are not licensed as of July 1st.
I am required after this meeting to report to the state who our licensed businesses are for both tobacco and liquor.
So you report who's licensed, but you don't report people who have not renewed and you do not report, right?
Well, their name comes off the list because they're on
Gotcha.
the list now. So there's a checkbox that says, you know, remove. I don't know how that shows up on their end.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
we are also welcome to anytime contact our local ATF folks and let them know if we have concerns.
So could you repeat those 5 businesses? And June's Juicery, are they even doing business yet?
She has not opened,
So that's only 4 businesses,
but she was given a license last year in
okay,
anticipation of being open.
okay, well, that's,
So it's
Where-
Boathouse,
the boathouse, okay.
McAvoy's, but
He's coming in.
he's
tomorrow.
coming in next month.
Next month.
Kitchen, the Debleys,
Mhm.
Crane's Kitchen next to On Deck. And June's Juicery.
And did Cranes, are they moving? Aren't they located somewhere else now?
No, they're in the same place.
Okay.
They're next
So
to
moved
the-
to a different community. I can see them. Okay.
No, there's a little shop called Cranes in Bailey's Harbor, but it's not him.
Oh,
House of Crane or something. So if they don't renew and they're beyond the deadline, does that mean they can't?
They cannot sell alcohol.
No.
Oh,
So can they apply late? Is there a late fee? Can they still get a license a month later? Or how does that work?
You can apply for a liquor license at any time because it's a prorated license. There's nothing that, to my knowledge, that says you can't take a break and then come back and
Yep.
reapply. The
Okay.
issue is that with the boathouse especially, they were granted an above quota license for serving alcohol.
Yeah.
And there's a quota on those licenses. If they
True.
lose this one, I don't know if they can reapply.
Okay.
Because they were given it under the 300 seat rule.
Yep.
Their grandfather, right?
That's something.
They
I
got
have
it
to-
in right under the wire before the law changed and it said that all seating had to be indoors. So they were using outside and inside.
So they might lose that.
That's an attorney question. I have not,
A question for the state too.
have not asked that.
Yeah, Cranes there's no parking or anything there. I don't know what's going on at Kitchen or Top Lot, I'm not sure.
We have not.
What's there? What?
They sold Top Lot.
It's old Top Lot, right, but there's some
And they
construction
haven't
going on up
yet.
there, I'm not sure what they're doing.
They're not planning really opening.
And maybe that's why they
So maybe
didn't apply, but
Okay.
So I
It's
think
gonna hurt the village if both houses can't serve. Somebody should talk.
Well, they've
been told
Heidi
Mike
has done
twice.
everything she can. Heidi's really good at reaching out.
But it'll hurt. the
but
village.
let's
It'll hurt us.
not have conversation.
I mean,
Sorry.
Hey, I hear you, but gee whiz.
It's out of order.
he's been told twice.
More than twice.
I'll just,
Yeah, and like, it's in the business's best interest
Okay, so
to get this done.
can we give them like a grace period? Can we, or we're not inclined or what?
That's state statute.
So what, I guess, Teresa's point, what's not like, what do we do, but what is our obligation? Like, it sounds like we just simply have to report to the state and then we've met our obligation.
At this point, yeah. I
Okay,
mean, I
so-
don't know, I mean, I've not experienced it otherwise of what really happens if somebody fails to apply.
Okay, so let's say tomorrow you report to the state. Tomorrow Michael comes in with his application, what happens?
So then it has to either wait until the regular board meeting in July.
Yep.
He could request a special board meeting of the board, which he'd have to pay additional fees for to get you all together to come, but it's still not gonna happen before July 1st. Because that application needs 15 days in my office before it comes to you.
Because of the public knowledge requirement.
Yeah, and that's in statute.
So with the ones on page 133 and 134 that are in highlighted. Trying to be reasonable and fair, I think that we could approve them tonight, contingent upon, at least the ones in the yellow minus the 3, that they come in and they sign something that states that they don't need any other operator's license because they are there during all business hours that they are open and they don't need anyone else.
So
Or they could get someone else certified too.
Correct.
But then maybe look.
Right, and Heidi has been able to do that. We did grant her that authority to approve other operators' licenses at any time of the year without it coming to the board.
Okay.
So there would be 12 days between tonight's meeting and June 30th that some of these people could get an operator's license. Take the 2-hour class online, get the documentation to Heidi, and have that operator approved at her discretion.
I guess I think if we're gonna ask that, I think we should ask it of everybody that's highlighted there. I mean, it's not a huge hurdle to go. They're gonna have to go to the office and sign some from them. I think we should just say notary. It's easy enough to go. Heidi's willing to go in front of her, but I think that we should just ask everybody that's highlighted there. I think that's a huge ask.
Me?
Yes.
At the White Gull, we have like 6 people that have operator's license, because we cover all the shifts,
Right.
not just one,
Well, it's likely they could too. I mean, Northern House, I see this, but
but they.
she may not know who she's got serving. She may not know who she's got working. It varies from, I don't know, I'm not making excuses for her, but then.
So what would happen if there was an operator that was licensed? Or if they were working at the Northern House and they just hadn't been registered to the Northern House, if they've gone through that training, can they come to you and say,
If you receive your operator's license here in Chester Bay, it's good for any business here in Chester Bay. So, I mean, and it's possible that somebody has an operator's license and is working for multiple businesses.
Sure.
Yeah, way hand waving.
Well, I was just gonna say, so I do bartend at Northern House as well too, but I have my operator's license through SBAA. That's why I'm not.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I think that's a Northern House, and they have houses, no other vendors do bartend elsewhere. I don't wanna speak for anybody, because I guess, and actually, I'm not bartending there this year, but they might have some bartenders that are other places.
But then maybe we need to, if there's not a place for it on the state form, then I'm sorry to say that we need to create something that states.
let's start with having it on this document is on a sworn affidavit, the things that you suggested, let's have them put that on there then. And just say, these are the registered agents or our terminology for those folks that have gone through the training that are serving on site, because there could be people that have already done this.
And if they don't have anybody else, then they have to state, and Heidi will have to use her judgment on whether or not she thinks that that agent is really there every hour that business is open.
I have had that conversation with a couple of folks and I just don't think that they care. So, but if
Because then if somebody goes into their business and they are not there, it would be aware, like one of us, or, something like that, and notice that, well, so-and-so is not there, but they don't have any licensed person on the premise.
So we'll be looking at approving this with that caveat on it, and how do we attach that with that?
So I can add that as a contingency on all of those class types. If you want to do your approvals based on the different classifications of licenses. So for example, Little Vegas is looking for a Class B beer license. Excuse me. They don't need any licensed operators. He does have other employees there. I wouldn't have to attach that to that class motion. Excuse me. If that's how you want to approach it. But for the rest of those, then I would.
Okay, so
I should add that I do have now from Ain Country Walk BP 2 operators applications that came in since this packet went out.
Okay.
let's leave it to you, just to,
Okay.
go the highlight, just say whoever has one.
Okay, for the record, though, I would like to go through the applications to state what is missing. And because so many were missing the number from the Department of Financial Institution, I'm just gonna skip over that. CHOP did not, is the applicant business, have the partner's agent or sole proprietor satisfy the responsible beverage server training requirement for this license period? Left blank.
So this is the Lou group, or is it, who is it?
Yes.
Same agent.
And those applications were filled out by their office manager.
Ecology Sports did not state if the business had been convicted of violating federal, state laws or local ordinances. That was left blank. You'll have to bear with me while I scroll. The Lou group for lure also didn't check mark the box on responsible beverage server training requirements been fulfilled. I could get really technical when it talks about, because a lot of them did not do it. When you are a corporation and you have a president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, a lot of times there's two, there's a president and a treasurer, a president and a secretary. It's supposed to be all your positions that you hold, but just in general, I'm not mentioning those that didn't fill it out. Northern Grill just missed. I think they have the town check marked and didn't write the village of Sister Bay in, so that's wrong. Northern, or was that Northern House? I'm sorry. No, that's what counted. Northern House, did the town and not of Sister Bay. Also did not date it when Sarah signed it. Sister Bay Bowl. Have the partner's agent, et cetera, responsible beverage server training requirement, they checked no.
And again, it was the office manager who filled out the application.
Yeah, Rose said she came in and worked with you to fill it out.
And yeah, and there are things on there that I missed because quite honestly,
Rose was
I
really
missed
worried about doing it right.
she's fine. I told her she was doing a great job for as much stress as she was under to try and get that.
Sister Bay Inn did not, same responsible beverage server training requirement, left blank. I don't know how we. Steamboat Missy LLC operating as Pasta Vino. This is the first time that I have ever seen this. It said, had the business been convicted of violating federal or state laws? They answered yes. Did everybody see that? Did anybody go through this?
I saw. I missed that particular one. I probably was I'm hoping.
Is this board not reading the packet? where they lost their license for 6 months. I don't know if that's an issue or not. Heidi does not believe that this corporation owned that business in 2018, so I don't really know what it's referencing.
They didn't own it.
They did.
In 2018. They didn't buy it till 2021, I think.
Yeah, it's only been 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
So
I'm sorry, but I'm really disappointed that this board did not review all this documentation.
You're talking every one of these licenses?
Yes,
Whoa.
yes,
There's a
it's
list.
part of our packet.
I
It is
understand.
our statutory obligation to approve these licenses. Selling alcohol is a privilege anywhere. And to just presume everything is okay is not okay without reading it.
With the Steamboat Missy, it was for OWI, does that impact their running the business?
That's a decision that the board needs to make. Anytime that there is an alcohol-related offense on someone's record, you have to decide how you want to handle that. In most cases, listening to other clerks from around the state, they're not going to deny someone an application for one OWI.
Yeah.
That's 6 years old.
Yeah.
Is it material to how they're gonna operate? I guess is the question I would ask, and I don't think so.
If it was last year, that might be a different story,
Right.
Yeah,
but 6 years ago.
So that-
So you just tell me when, do I need to recuse myself
So-
right now?
No, if we start with the Class B beer licenses, those seeking licensure, Little Vegas Inc. Would anyone like to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion. We approve Class B beer license. Motion by Bell,
Second.
second by Berto, all those in favor?
Aye.
The second group is a Class B Class B beer and Class C wine licenses, so Lily will be recusing herself. If she so chooses. Yeah. Would anyone like to make a motion on that?
And so this is the one that is highlighted, that anybody's name who is highlighted in the list presented to us on page 133 of the packet must come in and verify that they do not need operator licenses because they are there all opening hours of the business and
Or shall provide an operator application?
or shall provide an operator application.
I'd be more comfortable saying the ones that only have a single license.
That's.
I mean, I know that's what it is, but I'm just saying if
Oh,
Heidi comes up with
yes.
something else, I
The
want to
thing-
delegate that.
The agent,
Yes,
there is only an agent
yes, or something.
and no operators.
Yes.
And how do we feel about the mistakes in the applications? Because those were for some of these people.
I'm not concerned about those.
Oh, you're not?
Personally.
What about the Goldstone thing? I don't understand that, because I used to go there in the past, it's like you just go into their fridge, pull something out, and just write a thing, I took something.
You can't, then that,
It's illegal.
Yeah, well then, how are they, in
That's what I'm
business doing
saying.
this?
We need him to
When
sign.
you're
it.
saying going through all these, I've never read these licenses in my life, it's like, what are all these things, man, I'm learning. So I missed a few things.
So he was told in the past that he can no longer do his self-service bar. We didn't know he was doing a self-service bar until someone saw it online. And that's not allowed in the state of Wisconsin. And so I guess he's complying. I haven't gone there to see for myself.
should we have to go there? I guess. I think it's not.
So that would be part of his affidavit.
So we make that part of this, that one, that,
Yeah, for that portion.
the Class B beer license and Class C wine license. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Berto,
Second.
second by Harf, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The next class is the combination Class B liquor licenses. Al Johnson's Chop, Husby's Lure, Northern Grill, Northern House, and Sister Babel.
So Northern House would also have to file an affidavit.
combination class. License. Motion by Roscoe,
Second.
second by Sample, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion.
And then the combination class A retail licenses for Aim Country Walk McGee, Firefly Outfitters, Piggly Wiggly, Birdos, Sister Bay Petro, and Zeke's Village Market. So,
Motion by Roscoe,
Second.
second by Allison, all those in favor?
Aye.
okay.
Opposed, motion carries.
Then I'm also looking for a motion to approve the operators applications. There were only 3 individuals who applied for a 1-year application and they're listed there. And then quite a few that applied for a 2-year application. In addition to Carl Hine and Michael Novotny from Country Walk BP, who are not listed, Ben Ehlers and Walker Willett, for Chop and Lure, who are not on that list, and Butch Schramm from the Lions Club, all came in with applications since this packet was put out. And I did spell Tiffany Anderson's name wrong in the list. It's S-O-N, sorry, Tiffany.
So moved.
Motion by Allison,
Second.
second by Roscoe, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay. Better welcome, Heidi.
That's that one.
Please go on.
Then the next agenda item, we have a new liquor license application from BLTK Inc. doing business as Time Market. You may have noticed that Top Shelf was not on the list of renewals this year. It is selling. So they are timing the sale of their business with the end of the license year so that they do not have to reapply for a partial license. And Time Market will step in and take over July 1 with their combination class A liquor license if you agree to issue it. The Bradleys who are buying the business are going to operate it as a market in a deli, just what it's doing right now. They did not apply for tobacco license, so I don't think that they are intend to sell tobacco products, which is what Top Shelf had in the past. Carl Bradley, who is the current agent for Time Restaurant on the highway, would be the agent for this business as well. Questions on that one?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Bertle, second by Allison, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Financial reports.
Before we get off that subject, I want to be very clear about what's gonna happen with, I think we have, 3 people, so it's Boathouse, it's Cranes, and Scott's coming in next month, right? And June's, okay.
I'm sure Sarah will probably come back when they're ready to open. Part of the issue, had she applied for a renewal at this time, was going to be the fact that she is in violation of our ordinance, which requires that you have to be open for 150 days after getting a license in order to renew your license. She wouldn't have met that requirement. So because the business never opened, and I don't know when her new opening date is, she can delay coming back until she knows that and pay a prorated license fee.
Okay. So here's my question. So Scott came in and said, I'm not sure what he said to you, but he said, I'll be back next month.
Yes, he's fully aware of the fact that he cannot serve until, well, July, the day after the board meeting, when you meet to approve his
Got it.
license.
Okay,
He's very
that's
aware of
what-
that.
You didn't say, okay, all right. Okay. Okay.
At this point, there's nothing we can do. Right?
And then I guess I'm slightly concerned about all these issues with the licenses, you know, since they didn't dot the i's and cross the t's, and we do make others do that. What are we gonna do about that in the future to get them to fill out the right boxes?
Well, this would be what I had mentioned to Denise earlier, a great opportunity to place a limit on the number of licenses the village issues, and then you can hold them to, you don't complete your application, you don't get your license. If it's that important to them, then maybe they will.
I don't think
Work on
placing
their
limits
application.
makes people to fill out forms better.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
Then it'll have to be like it is, with others, that if they can't complete the application fully, then it doesn't come to the board, or it just gets denied at the board.
I think because we already addressed the fee schedule. I think because this has become a nightmare now, well, it's kind of always to a certain degree,
Sounds like
but
it does.
a nightmare.
Yeah.
Is that next time we talk about fees for the next licensing period, that if it is not complete, it is returned and you pay maybe not 150 because it's not quite as detailed. But you and Heidi can think about it and come up with a proposal and it's sent back.
Sure, with the SCR, what we did is last year, we made it very clear that if it's incomplete, it's gonna be denied. Kind of had that warning, so we could try that year warning, and then it didn't work, so then we had to come back and say, okay, every time it goes back, it's gonna be $150. Trying to get people to take us seriously and just check the box or sign the application. So maybe put them on notice that next year it's gonna be returned, and the board is considering or discussed.
Well, by the time Heidi would send out her letters in April of next year to everybody, reminding them to do it, it could be right there in the letter. If it's not filled out, it will be mailed back to you and you will have to pay X, whatever this board at a future meeting determines for wasting staff's time.
I think that's fair.
Sure.
When we visit the fee schedule in the fall, we can kind of put something.
More for tobacco licenses?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, now we'll look at that report. I'll make a motion that we pay the bills in the amount of $852,242.50.
Second?
All right, well, second question, full discussion.
I'd like to have discussion, but I don't know that anybody has any answers, so.
What were you want to discuss? I have a question. What?
Good try us.
Log splitter, $4,200. Excuse me, 144.
Wasn't that discussed at Parks once?
Yeah, we had budgeted for that.
Okay, and it was in the CIP or it was just budgeted for?
It was budgeted, and what he did was, I think if I remember right, Eric actually found one cheaper than what it was budgeted for. He held off, don't quote me, I might say, was it used, Heidi?
I don't remember it was used, it was on sale.
Or on sale?
Okay.
Because, yes, because he was trying to get it, he didn't have enough on the credit card, and we were like, but the sale was gonna end, so there was some issue with that.
Ross Conference, $785. Please tell me that she attended this previous to the month of May.
I don't remember which month that was.
I don't remember which month it is, but she was a
In light of the situation that we're in now, it's an $800 conference.
She was a director on the committee that put on the
Yeah.
conference.
I was gonna say she was part of the oversight board.
Who is on page 150? $10,325, Public Works Building, professional service something. What company is that and what did we pay them $10,000
I
for?
think that was your soil report.
Okay. Those are the questions I had.
I had a question as it related, I understand these are bills that need to be paid, but in the month of, for June, right, yeah. Did we ever, or could we do a budget review, meaning where we are year to date relative to budget? Is that, so I know that Tasha's gone, I understand, but if we, let's say we had a finance director in place, are we given that information mid-year?
Quarterly. We're giving it quarterly.
Okay, so would we not have it, so we'll have that in July?
We won't probably have it until.
After that quarter ends.
Yeah.
Well, that quarter ends in.
So I guess if we've hired somebody that will put those numbers into the spreadsheet.
You can get a copy of the financial statements at any time, which would show where you are
I just meant for the board to see on a quarterly basis, it's great, because I think sometimes the reports, and I think this has to do with our software, and I understand that, but it will show how we're doing to budget, but it doesn't show last year, right?
Oh, I see what you're asking for. Yeah, no, we'll do that.
But, and is there a way is there a way to produce a spreadsheet with with the software?
No,
Again,
you have to
challenging.
manually, you have to do it.
I know. So for at least mid-year, could we, I know this is work, I know you have a lot of, but it would be good to just get a temperature check on.
And why would it matter? As a finance board trustee,
Yep.
why would it matter where we are compared to last year when we've already budgeted for 2024? What are you
Because
looking for?
I'm looking for, actually, what I'm looking for is the budget relative to last year, right? I'm looking for that, a revisit on that, by a line item budget to last year, how it was budgeted, and then how it's performing to that. So it tells me that I'm looking.
Well, you can get two separate.
And I'm kind of
documents.
used to just.
You can get
also
two separate documents that'll do that. I
That's
mean,
cool, that's fine. I just would like to see a last year number to compare how we're doing this year relative to last year, but more importantly, how we budgeted this year to last year. And then that makes this year's year-to-date number more relevant.
That's in our budget packet that we got.
It's just relative, it just, for me, relative.
That's already created, I
But
guess.
I
is
mean,
what I'm
year
saying.
to date, like where we are, snapshot for 6 months. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do believe, because I've worked places where we have done that. No, we do not. We'd have to create that manually, like Heidi said. One of the challenges with government is your year-to-date, like, let's say in Parks, there's $100,000. And you look at it 6 months and you're like, oh, we haven't spent it, you know, what do they need that for? Or, oh, they spent so much, they need more. Well, the devil's in the details, you know.
Right.
Projects are heavy in spring.
Gotcha.
And you don't spend as much
I
in
know.
fall, so. Sometimes looking at that year to date and without knowing the details. It's misleading.
It's not, I completely understand that, and that's what we're here to ask, not interrogate, but ask questions about. I completely understand that. But, because when we see a budget though, we'll only see an annual budget. We wouldn't see a year-to-date budget, right? Because
We
don't
will,
budget by
Tasha
month.
used to prepare one for us for finance, so you will see that.
On a year-to-date, okay. All right, well, if I see it in finance, fine. I'm just wondering if the rest of the board would find that interesting, but.
Well, they could also be sent the packet.
Yeah, because the other thing too is, you know, to inform people that are chairs of committees and that are working with folks that are putting together the 2025 budgets. You know, because I mean, we gotta start putting those to bed. You gotta have a decent number by what, September, October? Right?
Oh,
Before
that.
Okay, so it'd be really good to know where you are right now, even though I realize it's only the first half of the month, but it's something. You know? In particular to see if you have the full year, prior year, you have year-to-date, prior year, you have where you are this year, and you have what the budget is this year, you've got something to work on.
I think it helps too to know why that budget was up, like you may look at 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, and why is there a spike? Why is this gone up so much?
Those happen, I get it, and some things go way down, you know, I get it.
So you
Totally
have to know that.
completely
backstory
understand that.
too.
And that's what you ask questions about, I suppose, in finance, but when our village budget is built from the bottoms up from committees, the committees, it's so important that the committees have, you know, whatever tools they can't, that get as many of the tools that they need to make good decisions, in particular when we have new village board members that are going to be responsible for doing.
I have a quick question. It's page 150, why do we pay, $630 to the attorney for an exit interview?
Those were legal questions regarding an exit interview that were to the village attorney. There was a series of questions back and forth between personnel and village attorney. Yeah, get to more than that.
We had called the attorney, asked some questions, because Tasha left.
Yes.
Attorneys charge anywhere between $200 and $400 an hour. And they count every single minute.
No, I know what attorneys charge.
Yeah.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There are no committee appointments this month. Staff reports. Questions on the staff reports, and the staff want to say anything that was not in the report or highlight anything?
I'll just add to this one, hopefully everybody gets this little booklet, if not, let us know. Great information in here about staff's roles and the board's roles, committee's roles. This keeps us out of trouble. That
Was what was at the beginning of the,
that
parts of it,
article,
or at the beginning of the meeting?
that article was from one of the attorneys that
Okay.
we had recently had some correspondence with.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, you guys need to learn this so you keep yourself out of trouble. And it
Sure.
just so happened that this month's magazine is full of great information about what the committee's role is and what staff's role is. So I really encourage you to read that, so we don't get in trouble.
Subscribing to this? I didn't even know this
You can get
magazine
it free.
existed.
Have you not been getting yours?
How do I
It's a
get it?
little bit for it to be.
Once you're appointed or elected, Louise, they start sending them. to
Ah,
you.
okay, no, I don't have it yet.
Yeah.
So I
It is
can-
online, so you can go online and read them.
Okay. I can do
You
that.
got yours, Kurt?
I got mine.
I didn't get it.
Hmm.
I can look it up online, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't in the, this is, kind of think this is part of the thing. I'm wondering if we could figure out a communication process, from when we, and we is probably Eric, knows that, I'm talking about the construction on 42 right now. So, of course, it's the, sewer in front of the Door Hotel. And so as a result of working on that, all of the parking places from, I guess, from Analog down to the confectionery are blocked now, and I think through Thursday or Friday. Could we put, a communication process in place that lets those business owners know in advance for a couple of reasons? One, they're all getting deliveries. So the delivery trucks, there was a truck that made a delivery to Analog and didn't make the turn the way he was supposed to and damaged the railing. But nonetheless, it helps a business owner a lot. So in her case, she was getting, it was, I forget who it was, Gecko, I think, was making the delivery. So, but is there a way to, I'm not trying to put more work on Eric or whoever it is. It could be another, another department to let the business know in season or out of season. Is there a way to do that, or?
There, yes and no. So we just subscribed to that Blue Dot system for the SDR people, but that does give us the ability, once we have all the businesses' emails in there.
Yeah.
We do have the ability to send out mass emails. Question is, do they see the email in time? Certainly you can't do it by mail. It takes too long.
No,
Email, they may
they
not
won't, God
read.
knows if they'll open.
Or you can try and go door to door. We found that doesn't work either because you don't always have the right person there when you go. And I don't know if they've done that here, I'm just saying. So,
Maybe we tweak our new website and that,
So there's
after
announcements
after
there.
the picture or something
Yeah.
like that there is important information.
Yeah.
Whatever we feel that needs to be.
Yeah.
So if you happen, I mean, granted, you'd still have to log on to the website, but if you
Right.
didn't check an email, maybe somebody would have read it and then word just kind of.
Right, as long as one person or one business owner reads it, I feel like the word can get around.
Yeah.
But the bulk email idea is good.
Well, gathering as many emails as we can get to have an e-blast that's efficient is awesome.
Well, and it can go out to every single business owner, not just the ones affected.
They can go out to residents too, because,
Well, yeah.
some of those people are Sister Bay residents that own those businesses.
I think it's gonna be more effective for us to push the information out there than to expect people to pull it down from the website. I think
Yeah.
you've got to.
Right.
I do agree with you, Louise. There has to be a better way of doing it. We ran into that with Mill Road where, they didn't know what was going on. And we need to have a better way of
Yeah,
communicating.
well, I feel bad for the girls because they get the calls. You know, and they're like, we don't really know, and it's nobody's fault. I'm not saying anybody did it deliberately. But if we, I'm happy to figure out a communication process or help somebody on, because I mean, you know, having worked with 165 businesses, which Ellie and is working with now, you know the business well enough that you know that you have to either call them, text them, or email them, one of the three, because chances are everybody has their preference, so it's very difficult. Some people never open an email, some people never pick up the phone, some people only look at a text, so it's hard. But if we start this in a way, you know, that if you wanted this information, it would be, and obviously the earlier we know, the better, right? Because then they know a week in advance or 2 weeks. I mean, with, you know, with food delivery guys, it's hard, they're coming.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, I'm happy to try to help. I mean, texting is the most efficient, but that's hard for a municipality to do.
Yeah, we don't have the ability to do group text either, because
Okay, well, we
we're all
have,
on personal tech.
okay, well, we can't do it.
The other thing is you also, when you send out bulk text, you
Yeah.
can want to follow up FCC guidelines.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay, well, there's a way to get all the businesses' emails. We would just have to ask them if that's okay, but just so that they get information like that, you know? Are there any other stuff, is there any other stuff coming up that we need to get a heads up about?
Yeah, real quick. So that one came.
I don't
out
need to
real-
know now, but let's just
Yeah,
figure it out.
on this one too, this was one where it fell apart. It broke. Eric's trying to figure out how to get it fixed. Vinton was in Egg Harbor. They're like, we can come up and do it now.
I gotcha.
So we do it.
Sure. I mean,
I
as
have
soon as
to-
we know that that's the best policy to have and you do the best you can. That's just life.
Yeah, that whole project moved really fast because we are kind of piggybacking off of Egg Harbor to save on mobilization fees. And
I
Vinton,
totally get that.
yeah, Vinton was the only one that really jumped at even doing this project for us.
Eric, this is not on you. I really get it. I mean, my husband called me today and said the tree guy came today. I'm like, really? Like, he's only like 6 months late and, you know, so I know exactly what you mean.
No,
Sure.
communication is an issue and
Okay,
we just have to dedicate more work on it.
so if you had all of the businesses' emails,
We don't.
I know, let's say you did,
Oh, if we did?
you could communicate what we need to communicate, right?
Yep.
Okay, maybe we can figure that out. Okay.
So, okay, anything else for staff reports? Okay, on to committee reports. Finance committee meets next week.
Personnel meets Thursday.
Fire board next.
Sorry about that.
Fire board will be having a meeting on Thursday.
Okay, Green Tier meets next week.
Thursday, no, Thursday.
Historical,
Yep, we did meet the first Thursday of the month. They discussed their budget. They hope to host weddings in the future there to raise more funds for the Historical Society. They're establishing an endowment for the new barn. And the big news is the Shadow Project has raised $200,000 in donations and pledges. They presented drawings of an improved boathouse. And the first farmer's market already took place on June 15th. We're going to a digital newsletter and Strawberry Festival is coming up June 29th.
How are their vendors for the farmer's market? Is it better than last year? Is it still
It's not very good.
poor showing?
They just
for-
started, right?
Yeah, and the problem with that too is Sturgeon Bay has a big farmer's market on Saturday.
Oh,
They
that's
get a
right.
lot of the farmers from the Sturgeon Bay area going to that one. And we even lost Neil Tusky, who's from
Oh,
the
really?
Bay to Sturgeon Bay, because there's,
The volume.
yeah, better business,
There
more
a reason why
people.
they do it?
So I think they should consider moving their day
Yeah.
to like a day that no one else is doing it.
We used to have one remember we had one at Country Walk on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. We have to go.
Wednesdays,
Yeah,
That's
Wednesdays,
good.
is that when it was? Yeah, it was over by, over by Top Shelf. Well, you could suggest it.
I'm going to suggest that there's only one day that there's no farmer's market, and that's Thursday.
Thursday's not a bad
In the
day.
county,
Actually,
that's the only day that there's nothing. But, you know, it's hard to change.
Well, yeah, but I think turnout is pretty obvious here, and
They're gonna
there
lose
has to
more
be a
people if they
change.
don't get people, you know, they don't have people.
Right, that's gonna end up going away
That
there.
is
It's gonna go away, and also, honestly, that location just isn't very good for a farmer's market. It should be. They should talk to the village about maybe holding it at the Lagerquist Barn, rain or shine. Something. Perfect venue. Yeah,
Have they talked about?
they have
Yeah, that
not
would be a
talked,
good place
they have
to do
not
it,
talked
actually.
about,
That would be. a
not
good place to
seriously,
do it.
no.
I think they like doing it at, you know, at Corn of the Pass, because then it promotes people. coming
Promotes
back.
their place, right? But Denise is right, they have to make some changes, or it's not gonna continue.
Library Commission?
I have a question, in the minutes of, it talks about the tile and grout cleaning ceiling estimate, but it doesn't give the estimate in the minutes. How much was that estimate?
Are there meeting packets? Do they put that in the meeting packet online for?
Please, clue me in on what you're asking.
For the library commission, when they prepare for the meetings, do they do a big packet like this?
Yes, they
and
do.
then
I
they
got
post
so
it
much
online?
information at the last meeting. It was incredible.
Okay,
Is it Christine? It's head-
Christina.
She is absolutely wonderful.
yeah,
Um,
so it was probably in that
Yeah.
packet, so we could probably go online and find it.
what is the question, please?
How much was the estimate for the tile and grout cleaning ceiling?
I don't know.
Well, you guys, it was talked about.
Do I have it in my face? I do not.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it was probably in the meeting packet.
I'm
They
sure it
posted
is.
Online.
The only thing I really had to add is they added that new maintenance person who works for,
Because I mean, the bid was
Yeah, we're-
accepted, whatever it was.
Oh, they did hire somebody?
yes,
Okay.
And so it also, the annual audit report stated that the year ended by exceeding the budget by almost $87,000, which was financed by excess revenues and available fund balance. What excess revenues were they referencing?
I don't get well, I don't read their minutes. And I don't go to their meetings.
are you talking the sound absorbing?
No, the annual audit report.
For the library.
It said the year ended exceeding the budget by almost $87,000, which was financed by excess revenues and available fund balance. I'm questioning, what excess revenue did the library have? Okay,
I wonder if some of that was from not well, that one made it different. I was gonna say from not having staff on for a brief period of time, but that one's been $87.
Yeah, that's a lot.
yeah, that's a lot of overdue books. I don't even know what the fine is anymore.
today.
Not fine anymore. Door County has given up.
Yeah,
fine
it's,
anymore.
yeah, most libraries don't charge for.
It's more book
books
work
anymore.
than.
Probably you're right. To pay somebody in the process, yeah.
Forgiven.
So Kurt, you'll find some of that up for us next week.
Oh, absolutely.
Along with the Rec committee.
Too green.
Are you guys met again?
The marina?
Did you say marina or green? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm like, marina or green? Yes, we met, we talked about the shadow, so it's kind of exciting that the Historical Society has now, their shadow group has raised a lot of money, so we are hoping they will come back with some plans, which then will go to plan and go to the board and everywhere else,
Way through the process.
to rehabilitate the boathouse. So we gave them a 2-month deadline and they met it and raised some money, so that was good. We allowed the Sister Bay Scenic Boat Tours to do a few, I think about 8 astronomy tours this year. We did request that they dampen the horn down a bit. So hopefully that will happen in the near future. They are required when they are backing up to sound a horn. So we are just hoping it'll be a more modest horn, and we will review how these astronomy tours go at the end of the season and see if they cause too much noise or if it's a problem. But for now, we thought it would be a good idea. And that was about it.
You just had your first crack at your budget too, right? Initial budget discussion.
I don't
Yeah,
believe we did.
Well, we just had a brief discussion with Dave about how we were asking about how the budget for 2024, we asked about budget questions for 24.
Yeah, but we're gonna look, I don't think anything was prepared for this.
Right, which, under the
But not the
manager's
20%.
report, Dave stated that this was an unbudgeted expense for Action Electric of approximately
Right.
$12,000.
Yes.
Lino noted that it's not unusual to have unexpected expenses due to water level issues that cannot be predicted. Well, that's very true. You probably cannot predict it, but there should be a line item.
I
And
asked
that would
about
be
that.
my suggestion
I asked
for
about
the
that
future.
today. I asked if there was a line for unbudgeted expenses, and he told me, I've got to remember this, that they roll it into, what's a larger line, like,
Workers' maintenance.
something like that, but they roll it into a bigger number. So you don't see it separately. I absolutely asked that question.
Well, then why would he say that the 12,000 isn't budgeted if they roll it into a bigger number? That makes no sense.
What I,
His
seemed like
answer,
I think the way that, maybe it's the way I asked it, Denise, because I said, well, because I didn't see it budgeted. I
What
didn't
I
see
wrote down
unexpected,
is he said there was an unplanned expense, not an unbudgeted expense.
unplanned. There we go.
Unplanned and
But, like, when you're doing a budget, usually you have, at least I do, a line that says, this is like what you weren't thinking was gonna happen.
right, so we're gonna have that. next
I
year?
asked it why he didn't do it for 24, so then, yeah, we should ask about it for 25. Uh-huh.
Unplanned expenses. It's hard to know what those are going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
Right, but at least
marina,
it's something,
right,
it's
yeah.
something there, and I don't, because they're an enterprise fund, Julie. Can that, let's say that they put in $10,000 a year.
Mhm.
Okay, into this line item. And if they don't use it that year, can it still stay in that line item and accrue because they're an enterprise fund?
My understanding of enterprise funds are yes,
Okay.
because it's their own money, it's their own pot of money.
Right, so that's what I would suggest, and they keep building it.
It's
Yeah,
actually,
we'd have to look at how they actually structure their budgets. Are they doing it as a true enterprise fund? Or how is it being budgeted? Is it rolling over or are they losing it? Because theirs doesn't go in, should not be going into the general fund. It should be just going back into their finance.
Sure, and so if it was more considered like, not a CIP, because normally that's a one-time thing, but this would be an ongoing, if there's a way for a line item that money can just continue to grow until they're at a comfortable point, let's say after 5 years, and if they don't use anything, they're at $50,000,
reserve, yeah.
then they can stop budgeting until they start using it.
Yeah, because usually you'll hit a committee will say, okay, we've got 50,000 in there. We don't need to put any more in there.
Right, until we use something, and then we'll.
Yeah.
The second paragraph of item F on page 8, you guys, it says Duffy inquired if there was enough money in funds to cover this year's unexpected expenditures, noting the budget line item for dock maintenance of $100,000. Lino replied that the line item includes routine maintenance. He anticipates requesting an increase in this line item to 115,000. Then I inquired if they do budget for unexpected. Dave stated that they make an attempt to account for additional expenses in the individual line items.
Yeah, new line item.
So, like, you asked me, and I couldn't remember. So there's no specific reserve fund, so I guess that's really what we're talking about, is a reserve fund.
Right.
Yeah,
There should be a reserve fund.
it makes sense what it sounds like he's doing is he knows what he's gonna spend and he pushes it up,
Yeah.
he inflates it
Right.
to account for
Yeah.
these unexpected things. And what he probably needs to do is do realistic and then just have
Set
to.
it aside. It's hard for people who aren't familiar with the business or in this case, the marina or whatever, to figure that out, so, okay.
So also on page 8, it says an error was discovered in the 2024 statements and corrected copies were provided via email to the members prior to the meeting. Was it a serious error?
No,
Everything was shifted on the financial statement by one line.
Oh,
it was that kind of
That's
error.
all.
okay.
It
Yeah,
was the budget line.
I had to figure out how to get that fixed. Sorry. It was Pat's fault pointing it out.
Julie, do you want to suggest that to Dave that he makes that line item? Are we?
You can tell him I asked for it as a member of
I
finance.
will when I meet with him.
Okay, you might be able to, I just think you might be able to explain it better what we're looking for.
Yep, I will.
We get the right thing.
Parks, properties and streets.
The agenda, or sorry, the minutes are here as presented. Any questions for me? Feel free.
Personnel.
We are meeting on Thursday.
We had a,
We also had a meeting. Right.
Yeah. that's right. Planning commission.
Does anybody have any questions on the minutes from the packet?
SBA.
We meet tomorrow.
Tourism zone.
That meeting is Thursday and it's the annual meeting, which is always filled with a lot of detail. It's zoomed if anybody wants to zoom in.
Facilities.
Any questions? Oh, I had a question.
Aren't you on that committee?
I am on that. I'm the chair of that committee. Right, so on page 35, because I didn't think about it at the time until I was reading the minutes about sewer rate study and connection fee charges. And so, we told Julie that, because Liberty Grove wants to be, in part of the discussion on picking a firm to do the rate study. But what I didn't think about the time, and I don't know that that's ever happened before, I think, have we always done it in-house?
So, yes.
Yes or no? That's all
yes.
I need to know. Okay. So they had some questions. We decided to hire out for it. And now with a price tag of $8,000 to $10,000, because it's not going to be in-house anymore, are they footing any part of that bill?
Yes, they should pay half.
But are they?
We're not even there yet. As a matter of
Okay.
fact, we are the ones who, just a correction on that, Denise, we are the ones who said to them, okay, you don't like the way we did it?
Right.
Now, which contractor would you feel comfortable with? So they didn't ask, we threw that out to them saying, hey, tell us who you want.
Because I want to make sure that if we're not doing it in-house and we're hiring somebody, that then if they have input to the contractor, that they are paying 50% of the bill.
And it should be 50-50, and we want them to agree on who we use.
It looks like Bud hasn't responded to it.
Like that.
And time is ticking away with, if you read, the utility minutes where our sludge hauling, can cost upwards of $160,000 next year, which is what, 120,000 more?
Yeah, and if you.
So we
noticed
need
in
a
your-
rate study,
Wait, so it's going from 40 grand to 160,000.
because we're gonna have to haul to Green Bay.
Oh, that's right, we talked about this, yeah.
And if you look at your financials, you're already paying that, it started. You did 1,500
That
Sturgeon Bay.
was huge, yeah.
So we need for Liberty Grove to make a decision, because however long the rate study takes, works its way through utilities, the board, et cetera, it's time consuming because we need that implemented January 1st next year. And we're almost at the end of June.
Well, you gotta he's gotta call you back.
I reminded him of it.
Village Hall Planning Task Force.
Village Hall Task Force?
Yes.
We did meet. We approved the, going forward with the grant to hire the, Robert.
Lee. To write the
To write the grant that Julie's gonna be applying for,
Yeah.
for like $1 million, I believe.
No, with the, so the grant, well, Robert E.
Couple million.
Yeah, Robert E. Lee is going to write the grant. It's a new grant that Julie found out about, right?
Yeah, and Robert, all the engineers have seen it and
Mhm.
we found it online as well, but Robert E. Lee offered to write it for us. And I think we talked briefly about this, but so the grant is due in July. And it's the first time it's ever been offered with some minor tweaks to our plan. It makes us eligible for it. There is no maximum limit, which is really nice.
Mhm.
So it could pay for the whole project.
Yeah, well, did you mention something about like up to 4.5 million? That's what you said.
4.2 million.
4.2?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then, sorry about that, trying to remember things here. And then the challenge is trying to figure out what the cost of the project is gonna be in time to write or meet that grant deadline. And then, of course, with Robert E. Lee doing the meat of it, challenge is gonna be having time to tweak it and add our flair on it. Or make it so it represents what we really want or what we're looking for. But we're gonna try.
Right, when we did have to make some accommodation for 2 small offices that would need to be included in the Village Hall plan to qualify for this grant.
Right.
Not necessarily offices, rooms.
Rooms, yeah, like
Rooms.
private rooms.
Yeah,
They could be.
That could be used for anybody,
Whatever.
yeah, in the community.
So I know that you grew up in Sturgeon Bay. And you've been with the village for a couple of hair pulling years. And in the minutes, it says that you will review the draft of the application to ensure that the full story of Sister Bay's. Is it just need is captured, just why we need it? It's not the history of the building or anything else like that?
Well, I wanna make sure that the history is in there and the need is in there.
Cause I know you would
All of
know the
us.
need. Do you know enough of the history?
Actually, the Historic Society, so I have researched a lot of it,
Okay,
but the Historic Society, who's the gentleman that was at our meeting?
Terry Wolf?
Terry, I'm sorry, I can never remember saying, Terry is actually digging that up for me.
okay. It just, newer.
Yeah, and
just-
the grant doesn't go into a lot of history, so
Okay.
I'm not worried about
Okay.
that, I just need highlights of that,
Sure,
so.
okay.
And hopefully we get it.
They did discuss the stage. Parks Committee had discussed getting rid of the stage. The Village Hall Committee said, well, can we have some type of happy medium, maybe cut it back partway? Henry's concern is if you get rid of that stage all the way, you won't be able to get to that outdoor deck. You're gonna have to have something to get up there. Whereas with at least retaining part of that stage, you get up to the stage and you can get up to the deck. Otherwise, you're,
And maybe that compromise is good, because like
Yeah.
it's stated in the minutes, that everything behind the curtain or whatever is.
Yeah.
Will be utilized
Yeah,
space.
There's another,
Always good.
Well,
to
there's
know.
another 6 feet behind.
I know.
Behind the curtain,
Behind the curtain,
there's
yeah.
25 feet.
I know in
Not depth.
Oh, not,
She means the wall.
the
behind
wall.
the
wall.
The wall of the stage.
The hallway and all.
But
yeah, the hallway's about 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah.
something like that.
I know we had discussed on part of that, getting rid of the stage, we would gain some floor space.
Yeah,
But also, we do understand the importance and the history of the stage being there and how, if we're looking to make this a multi-use village hall, that there could be a need for the stage, so then there was that proposal to maybe cut it back a few feet. And I guess they were gonna let us know how much they would recommend would be the maximum, we cut it back. So we'd also be gaining some floor space, but without getting rid completely of
so cut the depth, not the height of it.
just the deck. Yeah, because we do need that height to access that,
To go out on that deck,
outdoor.
because
deck
he wants,
that's gonna
because
have
the deck
water
would be that height.
Then when we talk about floodplain, we had floodplain elevations done, and the addition is out of the floodplain, which saves our project, because if not, you would have had to go way up to get onto that deck, because the bathrooms would have had to been several feet, like 4 feet higher, which means you would not be able to walk off the stage onto a deck, you would have had to go from the stage up to the deck.
So what about the basement? There, because there's been seepage and all kind for years.
The basement's at water level.
Yeah, so it's just not gonna be usable.
Yeah, we can't do much.
There's
to
no,
it.
I mean, there's no way. Okay, so then that's why the restrooms come upstairs. Okay.
Well, and in big part to make it.
Well, that's true, right.
That was it.
And because I haven't seen any plans recently and Henry's revising them or whatever. And we have talked about how important it is to finally have some winterized bathrooms, you know, downtown. The marina will also have winterized bathrooms on the north end of town. They're not that far apart, but anyway. Because if they are going to be open year round, has in the drawings, and I can't remember, is there a pathway from the sidewalk
Oh, yeah.
to the back of the building that we're gonna have to keep shoveled so the bathrooms can be accessible in the dead of winter?
I don't know, but we're probably gonna have to put in sidewalks. If that's the case. I mean, it's right now, it's what do we need? How do we make it fit? Can we make it fit? Is it out of the floodplain? And then, you know, if we have to run a 5-foot sidewalk to it, that's minor.
I know it's minor, I just wanted to make it just popped into my head, thinking that we need access to that.
And
so.
actually, when you look at the doors, so if I remember right, there's one. Anyways, the doors do lead, you know, they're headed outside, but it's accessible from the outside. So. I think that one directly would go to that sidewalk that goes along the water. The other one, I think we'd actually have to put in a new sidewalk.
Okay.
But we can make that.
We did get a letter from Bjorn Johnson about, they're very concerned about parking for the village hall, where our parking plan is.
There isn't one.
We don't have one. Right.
You will never have one.
Right, I mean,
And as long as you don't expand the footprint
We
or the
shouldn't have
use,
to.
it is grandfathered.
Right.
So we put that on our agenda for next month.
I saw that.
Well, that was one of the talking points about, well, if you ever wanted to have it be an event thing or something, it's hard because.
You have to take all the green space away.
God knows, I mean, you can't just
Well, also,
pour concrete on that.
I bet there's on a meeting, like, you go to the marina, there's always weddings
Yeah,
there, there's no parking there, people have to walk.
You can figure it out.
You can figure it out.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the committee reports?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Roscoe, second by Allison.
Can I
Those in favor?
add something? For the library meeting, I had written these.
We really can't take it, not at this point yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, motion to adjourn with, sorry, items to be put on a future agenda.
You really only brought up your contribution to DCEDC during the meeting. And, the fee for liquor license applications that need to be returned. What else would you like to talk about next month?
We have some development agreements that might be coming.
Could we have, at least for my benefit, maybe for others, could we have a clear calendar for when when the budgets are due? Like the process. I think I'm clear. I hope I am. I think I am. So for parks, for instance, Eric's working on it now. And so that would be due, I think the process is that Eric presents his ideas to parks, is that correct?
And then the finance committee will set a budget calendar.
Okay, so when would Eric need to be prepared to present his budget to parks? At the July meeting or the August meeting?
So the finance committee will set a budget calendar, but I have instructed staff to have theirs ready for July.
So July meeting, so that anybody that's chair of whatever committee, so that's gonna be due, okay.
Have I made myself known to
Yes,
the
Denise.
board as the whole? I know I brought it up at Parks,
No, well, then-
but have I said it to the board?
Well, then just say it again.
Is as a member of the finance committee and my no vote on last year's budget, I am asking for whatever committees are gonna move forward a budget, that there is a 0% increase. So choose wisely.
I would caution you, though, Denise, to say that that's a directive that'll come out of next Monday. That's one of the things we have on there, to still come from the finance.
I'm just saying where I'm at.
But I'm saying that I think you'll probably have a very clear directive that's going to likely echo that coming from the
Oh.
finance committee.
Okay.
So most committees that have budgets meet monthly. So those, every committee should be prepared to get from that director or that staff member, their budgets in July.
Yeah, and there's only so much they can really finish on there, you know, they can't do benefits or personnel or anything.
I got it.
But they should at least know, have a good idea on the projects or where they
Yeah.
cut back,
Okay.
special needs.
Do that includes CapEx, stuff like that,
Yeah,
big stuff, okay,
because we have to work on the capital improvement plan as well,
okay.
aside from that. So we find out what they want, then we
Okay.
have to work on the capital improvement.
Do they request staff in a budget like that, or does that, and where does that go?
So normally if you want staff, the process would be you would go to the personnel committee and you'd start there.
Okay.
You'd share it with, you'd get the approval of your committee as well, and then it'd be put into your budget. Last year, it didn't work that way, with one of the departments, they had some unforeseen staffing needs, but the process should be where you're going to your personnel committee, your oversight committee, and then it's being put into the budget.
So that's another discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Unless you want to deliver.
Thanks.
Good job.
Second.
Motion by Champo, second by Howard, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.